Hi. Hello, hello. Oops. Some Palo Santo. How's everybody doing? I don't know about you, but I am loving the energy of this full moon eclipse. It was really intense up until pretty much last night. And I don't know if it's just my reaction to it or if others feel the same, but I feel like suddenly I just settled into this new energy. I feel like I've completed some sort of transformation that I cannot yet describe, but it's beautiful. Either way, it's beautiful. And I've been doing a whole lot of awareness work, becoming aware of patterns, becoming aware of things that I'm doing to block myself or the things that I'm doing to get in my own way, to self-sabotage myself, right? And we all do these things. In fact, I think that it's the only thing that holds us back, really, is ourselves. That there's never really anything outside of ourselves that's actually in our way. It's more of how we self-sabotage, right? And how and our beliefs. So it's penumbral lunar eclipse. So this is when the full moon enters the penumbra of the earth. So it's like just dims the luminosity. It's not like a full eclipse. And so I feel like this new moon eclipse energy is asking us to let go of the distractions that we allow to get in our way, right? To stop paying attention to the fluff or the extra things that we pay attention to that aren't as important, that just distract us from what we really should be paying attention to, and to actually confront the inner reality that is asking the same thing of us that the moon is asking of us, right? And so the moon we look to on the outside as a guide to help us figure out what's going on the inside, right? And so the eclipse will magnify the full moon. And so this is a time where like repressed feelings and emotions from the past may show up. Maybe feelings that you need to release from your past, or shadows may show up. Yes, filler. That's right, Nancy. Yeah, exactly. The filler. The hour that we spend on TikTok, watching very short videos. Yeah, it's fun. But like when we want to get somewhere in life, and when we really want to overcome our challenges, and when we really want to push through and grow and get to the next level, whatever that may be for you, it's about being able to effectively knock out those distractions. It's not that we can't spend time doing them if we plan it, or we spend a day where we do whatever we want. That's fine. But there has to be a way to get out of our own way, right? So that we're not self-sabotaging ourselves. And I find that I've done this a lot, where I'll spend hours doing something and doing nothing, and it feels like I feel like I did so much. And a lot of it is because I wasn't paying attention to where I was putting my energy, right? And so what I was paying attention to during that time, what I was focusing on. It's almost like you'll have to face things about yourself that you may not want to admit to yourself, right? Like sometimes I think, I don't want to really admit it to myself, but like I have lazy moments. It's not laziness because I'm always doing something. It's not lazy to want to have a day or two a week where like most of the day I don't have to actually do anything. But it's natural to me to think of it that way. And it's almost a trauma response for me to think of it in that way, because there was many years of my life where I was messed up and I wasn't capable of functioning like normal people. And because of that, I am now overcompensating sometimes where I don't take the time to rest like I should, right? Because I'm afraid that if I allow myself to do that, then I will be unmotivated and that I won't actually get anything done. And that's one of those things that it's not really easy for me to accept that about myself. But I have to if I want to become the next best version of myself. It's a must. And so it's kind of like cosmic tough love. What's happening right now in the cosmos. And so I was going to do a reading like I try to do for the full moons. Let me just cleanse the energy here a little bit. I was lighting a little bit of Palo Santo, but I'm running out and like it's just too small to light anymore without burning my fingers. So I'm just going to use a little bit of white sage because I have some left. I won't be buying white sage again unless I can find it from someone that grows it. Unfortunately, it's not really sustainably grown here. It's not something that I can grow in my yard. I've tried it. I might try it again, but our weather here doesn't really support it as much. It needs warmer weather. All right, so let's see what comes up for us, guys. This is your collective. So this is for everyone. Full moon reading. Full moon in Scorpio. Hello, puppy dog. My dog is sitting here next to me. He's an old man, and he's kind of like hanging out, laying on my bed right now next to me. And I shuffled the cards, and he sat up and looked at me like, what is that? You want to know what that is, Apollo? Does that bother your ears? The smoke might be bothering him too. I didn't even think about that. You okay, buddy? You want to see him? Look at this handsome guy. Say hi, Apollo. He's like, oh God, 11 years old maybe. 12 years old, something like that. You okay, buddy? You want to get out now? All right, let me move. Let me move and let him by. That way I can focus on the reading. Come on. Come on. Come on, buddy. Come on. Come on, buddy. Come on. Come on. It's funny, like, how every time I try to like do a ritual or create sacred space or do a reading, I find that the animals want to be in here more. I have a cat too, and they both will like come. It's very rare they're both in the same place, but it's interesting how like whenever I try to do something like this, they both kind of want to be around. I'm just feeling through all of the cards, saying hello to all of the archetypes. These tarot cards, they all represent an archetype, of the human psyche. They all represent a phase in our human evolution, our psychological evolution, our spiritual evolution, our emotional evolution. Hi, Elia. Yeah, especially cats. Cats are very psychic. The dog left because I think the sage was bothering him. The cat doesn't like smoke either, but cats are really trippy. They're really trippy animals. They definitely feel what's going on. Mm-hmm. How are you guys doing, everybody doing on this full moon day with the intensity of this Scorpio moon? A Scorpio is the sign of deep transformation. And so there's got to be a lot going on collectively because I can feel it. But from the last eclipse, the solar eclipse, until now, I felt intense. Like I think that part of that was Pluto retrograde. I think part of it is Mercury retrograde. And part of it is the fact that it's all magnified by the eclipse season. But moving into this Scorpio moon and the closing of the eclipse season, like the eclipse portal, I feel like I've settled back into my body. I feel really grounded. And I feel like, you know, when you finish doing energy work on yourself and like, you know, there's sometimes where like you feel like you did a detox and like you're exhausted, like you still feel like your being, your body and everything just kind of still needs more rest. And then there's times where you do the energy work and the shadow work on yourself and you come out the other side of that transformation in a very empowered and like energized way. That's how I'm feeling right now. Mommy stuff. Her 8th grade road trip or her 8th graduation trip. Okay, cool. Her 8th grad trip. Cool. She's in 8th grade. I'm trying to remember how old I was in 8th grade. I guess I was 13. Yeah, it wears some people out. It does. I was really worn out at the previous. She's 14. Okay, yeah, I'm April, so I would have been, I guess, 14 in April too. In April of 8th grade. The last eclipse that we had, the solar eclipse, the new moon, I was exhausted then. And now I'm energized. It's funny how it works for different people. I'm a Taurus. So it could be because the new moon was in Taurus during that eclipse. I believe so. It might have been Aries, though, actually. Aries, I find Aries exhausting. Aries energy can be exhausting. I don't tend to have as much energy as they do. All right, so it looks like all right, yep. So we got, what is the energy right now? We got creative. We got a creative energy. We got imagination, following your heart's desires. We got identifying the shadow self, right? And looking at your attachments, your addictions, your daily routines, right? The things that we do daily are what actually create our reality, right? And so it's about mindset somewhat, and it's about belief somewhat. But most of the creating that we do on a regular basis, the things that influence how we manifest the most are the things that we do on a really daily basis. So there are routines and our rituals, the things that we habitually do. And so what can we do to maybe more streamline our routines and our habits? By identifying those things that are in our way. So where we're self-sabotaging ourselves, or where we are maybe becoming too attached to things or falling into temptation or allowing ourselves to be seduced by like shiny objects and these ideas of something that like aren't what is best for us long term, right? It's about, oh, squirrel, getting sidetracked from the main objective. And then what is our challenge this month? It's 28 days, moon cycle. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff going on at once right now. I really think that there is. It makes sense that not all of us would feel the same because we're all going through our own unique thing. So the challenge that we're facing right now is starting new projects. We're thinking about starting new projects. We are inspired. We have the urge to create. We desire what's at the end of that road, right? What's on the other side of this journey. We have a vision that we've had from the beginning that we've been working on this whole time. But are we focused on that vision? Like, are we getting distracted by the things in the middle? And so we are challenged to see if we can get passionate about what's on the other side of the mountain rather than what's going to be comfortable for us in the meantime or what's going to keep us entertained in the meantime. It is about making short-term sacrifices for the long run, right? It's about taking inspired action, not just getting excited at the next thing that looks interesting and then getting stuck there and not paying attention to the intuition that's coming through, right? It's making sure that we're not making our decisions impulsively and celebrating the small wins, celebrating the things that bring us joy. It's about leaning on community to get through those hurdles, right? So leaning on your partner, leaning on your best friends, leaning on the people in your life that you have deep relationships with to help you celebrate those minor wins as you move towards the greater vision. And it's about maybe leaning more into the community side of things when you get discouraged, right? So maybe you haven't had a win that you could celebrate recently and you are thinking of the long-term goal. But when you think, well, nothing's happening for me, then you get sidetracked by that shiny image, by the thing that's going to make me feel comfortable and happy now. We get sidetracked by self-sabotage and by making impulsive decisions just to feel comfortable in the moment. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if we want to get out of our own way, what I'm getting is that leaning on community is a good way to get out of your own way. Because I find that when we lean on a community that holds the greater vision for us, it becomes easier to see collectively than it is to be able to see individually. And so it seems like it's not only the challenge, but it's also the ally is leaning on the community. What is another ally? Working towards a state of wholeness. Focusing on the things that keep us feeling fulfilled. Celebrating those little wins, celebrating just being alive. It's getting back to mindfulness. It's getting back to the basics, right? It's celebrating the little accomplishments. And what else? Meditating, getting back to mindfulness, like I said, reevaluating what's working and what's not working. Where have we become disconnected? Where are we out of alignment? It's having courage. But you can't have courage without fear. And that's the thing that I think we often forget, right? Like we think that if we're terrified of something, then, we're not courageous. But the thing is that you can only have courage if you're first afraid. And it's about moving through that fear. Because You may not want to do what you have to do to get to the other side, but you want what's on the other side of it. And so instead of thinking of it as something that you have to, I don't know, force yourself to do, or something that you have to do that you don't really want to do, think of it more as like an experiment. Like, I wonder what's going to happen. Like, what will happen if I do the thing? I have to do the thing to get to where I want to be, right? That's the greater vision on the other side of the thing, whatever that thing is that's coming up for you. And instead of viewing it like, I don't really feel like doing this, I'm also terrified of how it's going to turn out, blah, 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 but I want to get to the other side. Well, how about more like this? How about more, we come at it more of like an angle, like from this, I could never guess how this is going to turn out, right? It's almost as if I picture it in my head, and because I pictured it in that way, it can absolutely not turn it. There's no possible way it can turn out that way, because we can never guess how things are going to unfold. So why don't we start approaching these types of things from a curiosity perspective, right? And so, like, how can I be curious and excited kind of to like see how the thing is going to turn out? Like, if I move through the fear and I do the thing anyway, I got the chills everywhere right now, because this is what came up in a coaching session for me yesterday too. It's leaning on the things that are familiar as your ally, reminiscing on happy memories, looking back. Are there things that you've done to reach a goal before that you really didn't want to do? And how did they turn out in the past? Does it ever turn out as bad as we think it might be when we're terrified, when we're scared? Exactly. What else is possible? Anything. Anything is possible. That's the thing. Our minds always go right to, well, what could go wrong? And what if it doesn't work out how I want it to? And what if it doesn't go great? And but what if it does go well? What if it goes well and this is the thing that changes your whole life? What if the best thing that you could, even imagine happening is what happens? What if everything falls into place and you wind up being exactly where you wanted to be? What if? We could have anything we want. There really is no limits. The only limitation is the limitation that we put on ourselves. And so it's avoiding exhaustion and burnout, right? Avoiding wearing ourselves out. So that means that we need to rest too, right? We want to do the thing to get to the other side. And now that we've gotten ourselves kind of excited, where we're excited to see what's possible, what we can create if we do the thing through the fear. But are you taking care of yourself too? How is your nervous system? Do you feel on edge? Is there a lot of tension running through your body? Are you exhausted, worn out? That is not the place you want to do it from. If you're going to move through your fear and do it whole. Do it from a place of wholeness. Do it from a place where you're nurtured yourself and your nervous system is calm and regulated. You know what I mean? Do it from a place of having a full cup. Anything is totally possible. My mom told me today, you need a plan that guarantees success. And I almost laughed in her face, because I know the more I plan, the more I get in my way. Right. Absolutely. So you can make your plan simple. Your plan can be simple. Your plan can be creating a process that works for you. Not what somebody taught you, not what this person does to reach success, not what that person does to get to where they need to be, but taking a look at all these things that all these other people are doing and all the ways that it's possible to do it, and sitting with yourself and asking yourself, like, what would work best for me? Because you really only need one path right now. And if it doesn't work, that's fine. You can always take a different path. So it's like this energy of like experimenting with what feels good for you, something that's doable for you, something that fits with your lifestyle and your energy, and trying to decide on something that actually feels good, and then giving it a try and seeing where it goes, right? And what's the worst case scenario? That you don't wind up where you wanted to wind up? Well, that's okay, because you're not there yet anyway. So, I mean, it won't be any different than it is right now. And you just do it again. and you do it again. I think where we screw up the most is we overthink the shit out of things. But more than that, we feel like we need confirmation from other people in areas that we cannot actually get confirmation from other people, because it takes something different for each one of us to get to that place for ourselves, whatever that place is. And it's different for every one of us. We are literally so unique in how we're created and how we work and how our brains work and how we are energetically, that there's not really some one thing that works for everyone. You know what I mean? It's got to be in some ways adjusted to what's best for you. And that's another thing that's been big for me coming up too, that there's little you can control. That's another thing. Settling into that came up for me this week, where I realized through a mentor of mine doing a reading just like this. She said, I feel like there's a control piece there for you. And she got the Lover's card and she said, why aren't you leaning on your partner? And I was like, you're right. I'm trying to control shit. I'm trying to control too much. So instead of having this idea in my head of what I want it to look like and trying to push him in that direction, I sat back and I was like, well, what do you think? And what would you do? And why? And I allowed him to say whatever he said. And I allowed him to channel his creativity. And I was like floored, because I was like, wow, now that's something I can get behind. Where I think before I was just in that, I wasn't actually trying to control it, but like my energetics said I was. You know what I mean? And you guys know that like, if you have that energy of it, that if you're afraid that things are going to be beyond your control, then you're energetically trying to control something that really is beyond your control. And it's about reminding yourself, constantly reminding yourself, like, okay, I have to get back into flow. Because the minute you feel like you're pushing, that's when you have to stop. And it's hard sometimes to catch yourself there, because a lot of times, because we are just so conditioned that if we work really hard and we just continue to work really hard and push through and force ourselves to do things, then that's how we get shit done. But that's actually not true. That's how we burn ourselves the fuck out. You know? We get shit done by taking care of ourselves, by slowing down and getting back into the flow of calming down our central nervous systems and getting ourselves back into our body in a calm, relaxed state, and being grounded and fixed in a very comfortable place. And then it's taking the next inspired action and letting it go from there. The minute you start hitting a wall where you start feeling you're forcing yourself to do something, that's when it's time to time out and take a break. And that's hard sometimes. It was really hard for me, because sometimes you just want something that bad, you know, but you don't realize until you take the time to take care of yourself, and then you get back in the flow. And the way things start to unfold in the flow, it's like, oh my God, why didn't I realize this before? Like, I just basically smacked my head against the wall for like entirely too long, knowing that wasn't the way to do things, but I was doing it anyway. And that's okay. That's okay. We all do that. This isn't about being perfect. It's about cultivating the awareness to stop ourselves at some point and be like, wait a minute, time out. This is insane. I can't do this. This is not how it works. Like, let me collect myself. Let me go take care of myself. Let me drop all this. You know, let me let it all go. Let me come back to my center. Let me ground myself. And then let me ask. Let's go inside for the answers. What's the best next thing to do? Yeah. And that only works for us when we're able to calm ourselves down, to calm down our nervous system. It's very hard to listen to intuition or to get into that centered state of being when your mind's going a million miles a minute, when you feel jumpy. Even if you're not thinking, your body feels jumpy and stressed out, or you got headaches from stress in your body. Sometimes it takes a little while to get to that point where you're back centered again. It's a lot. So many lumps on my head from banging it against. Yeah, I did it too. I just did it for like 6 months straight, I swear. And that's okay. It's okay. It got me to where I am now. And that's part of it, Alaya. It's learning to trust yourself. It is the biggest piece of what's held me back this whole time, Alaya, the truth be told, is that I didn't trust myself, that I knew enough. I didn't trust myself that I could come up with it on my own. I didn't trust myself that I didn't need confirmation from anyone else. But the minute I started to realize that I do know what I'm doing and that I can sit down and figure out how things work without learning a whole nother system or having someone else, confirm what I'm doing is correct, that's when the momentum started again. And it happened from relaxing into flow, from just taking care of me. When you want something so bad, like it's real hard to sit back and relax because you're like, I just want this. I want to get this. I want to do this. But really, it comes so much easier if you could just talk yourself out of doing the things just for a day. You'll come to a place where it's so much easier to just get back into flow. It's not an easy thing, though. It's most certainly not an easy thing. Meditations are great for that. You do really great meditations. I love your meditations. In fact, let's plan something soon, and we could do a meditation for the groups. That would be awesome. We should we could either do it live, or we could do it live and then record it. Something that you could use for your community and I could use for our community. And maybe we could have both communities come together. We could stream. I have StreamYard. We can stream in both places. We can go, come on screen together. That's something that we could do. I think everybody would really enjoy something like that. Exactly. You've been neglecting that's the thing. We don't need to learn more. We need to figure out what works for us. And the only way to do that is by experimenting, by doing it. And it's just like, well, I don't have the confidence because I haven't done the thing yet, but I know that my process works because I went through it. Well, the only way to get confidence that you're going to be able to do it for someone else is by actually doing it. And that's the hardest part, right? Is moving through that uncertainty and just trusting in yourself. Maybe even if you have no reason to trust in yourself, but just knowing that that's what works and that that's what's necessary, and just kind of being like, well, even if I don't trust myself, I trust my higher self. Even if I don't trust myself, I know that I'm connected to something greater that has an intelligence beyond anything I could ever have. And just allowing that to take over. Yes, I would love that too. Let's chat about, sometime this week doing that. Mike's working a lot of hours because of his, because he became the manager and he's still hiring people. And so, but we could do it like, we do our Monday nights. We could do it like, have like a Monday night live, and then we could do a meditation at another time or whatever. Let's chat. Thinking you have no reason, but exactly. And if you can't trust yourself and you think that there's no reason to trust yourself, well, then trust in what guides you, right? Trust in that life force energy that moves through you. And that's the place where I just was. So yeah, me too. That's the same place I just was. And it's still a little nerve-wracking. Yeah, absolutely. I would love that. How's everybody doing? Anybody have any questions? Guys doing okay? Thank you so much for joining me. I can't believe it started pouring. I didn't think it was supposed to rain today. It started raining while I was doing this. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me. And I really hope that this message resonated for everyone who watches it. And what day is today? Today's Friday, right? Oh my goodness. I am most definitely going to be back by Monday night, and maybe even before then. I would like to have a chat about grounding. So if I can get my thoughts together, today's my mom's birthday, so I got some family stuff to do. But if I can get my thoughts together, I might pop on Saturday or Sunday and have a talk about grounding and the importance of grounding and how it's really helped me recently and how there's so much science behind it and how we really should all just be like, it's so beneficial, even if it's not in the way you think when you think of grounding. So there's a lot of really good ideas. There's a lot of different ways to do it, right? And just like the rest, there's a way that you can find that's easy for you, that feels natural to you, where it doesn't feel like you're going out of your way to do it. It's just comes naturally. So thanks for joining me today, guys. Happy full moon, and I will see you all soon.